Hello everyone, Eve is here and I'm specialist in branding and business, and I help coaches and experts in the online world to build thriving business and thriving brands. So today we're going to discuss one question which I found really interesting, because Kisha asks, how can I brand to look unique and being authentic, transparent and vulnerable? And I just have to thank you for this question, because this question is truly important and interesting, because brand authenticity, it's not like how brand can be transparent, authentic, unique and vulnerable. It's the core idea of brand itself. It's like brand cannot be without those qualities. And that's why when I'm talking about branding, when I'm talking about brand, I always talk about the building relationships and building the human factor of the brand, so people can connect with your business via the brand. So let's come to the situation, how does it work and how you can implement those knowledge about the brand, which I shared before, and what I share usually about the idea, how you build connection with people and how you find your real tribe. See, when we talk about the coaches and experts, it's always their relationship, one-on-one relationship. It's really close connection between your business and human. And that's why in this situation, we start always with personal branding. And the personal branding, it's a really core and essence of your business branding in future. And when I, for example, work with my clients in my one-on-one program, I always emphasize on the fact that the self-discovery, understanding of your why, understanding who you are is so much important, because this vulnerability, this resistance which we feel later on if we didn't build the brand correctly, can affect all our business communication. In fact, this is exactly the core reason which affect visibility factor and why people cannot build the proper relationship with people, because they didn't dig deeper inside their hearts and they wanted to avoid certain fears and ideas which block them. And that's why they didn't want to make that self-discovery. And this is, believe me, a really common factor. When I ask my clients, I say, guys, what is your fears? Please tell me, make a list. And they say, I don't have any fears, I'm fine. And the thing is that I think there is no human being who actually don't have any fears at all, or some limiting blocks or anything like this. We are all imperfect and we do have certain kind of things which block in us, and that's why we are able to evolve and move forward with our personality factor. And that's how I consider the brand is a tool to also help you in self-development journey. So that's a little bit too deep, but I want you to understand that when you build the personal brand, it's really important to start with yourself, this relationship between you and you, because when you start digging deeper, you understand that, for example, people like to give external why. And they say, my why is my children, for example, my family, or something like this. And I say, please dig deeper. Please understand your why is within you. It's between you and you. There is a deep reason why you're doing all this. And it should be ideally that your why is not just money making, because I'll touch this money making part in the end. So let's get back to this personal branding thing. So the personal branding allow you to create a really deep connection with your people, because you start connecting with people and also start building your brand story and share with people really specific part of your life. You don't need to share everything, but you start building your brand story. So what you want to be known for, who you want to be, what you want people think about you. There are many things which you don't need to mention about your life, because your life probably is really long and people don't have time to hear everything about you. But something which helps people to transform their life is really important and can help people to move forward and will be the reason to hire you eventually. So digging deeper and understand who you are, how the things work is really important. Then I want to touch the vulnerability factors, the vulnerability question which you ask. And that's really important, because I think that if you will read the description about vulnerability, the physical vulnerability has a very negative description. People avoid to be vulnerable. And eventually this description get on for the emotional vulnerability. And that's interesting thing, because emotional vulnerability, in fact, make us stronger, unlike the physical vulnerability. And that's why it's sort of a fashion word nowadays. That's why it's really important to dig deeper, to understand yourself and get this courage to describe your story. And I'll give you a quote. Because I did make my research, and that's why I'm so grateful for this question. So Brené Brown says that vulnerability is much closer to courage. Courage to tell the story of who you are with your whole heart. So when we talk about branding, I mean, I really like this quote. She's a really famous author, and she did write a lot about vulnerability. And when I'm giving this quote, when I was making research, I was looking for that connection between the brand leadership and the vulnerability, because it's a sort of controversy when we talk about, okay, this person have to be leader, and we assume that leader is supposed to be strong. And many times we believe that leader cannot be vulnerable, but the truth is that leadership is actually relatability. It's how person is trustworthy, how person is believable, and how people can move people forward, show them their mission, and show them that they're not perfect, show them their real imperfection. That's why people start believing to such leaders, and they understand that this leader is just making more than the average person in the community. And that's how communities move forward with leadership. So that's why when we talk about the branding is really related to vulnerability. And obviously, when you will dig deeper and understand your personality, your unique qualities, and when I teach my clients in one-on-one how to find more about personal branding, I always recommend to start with SWOT analysis when you find your weak points, strong points, and opportunities in the market for you and threats in the market for you. So when you understand all this math and all the simple ideas how brand build with your personal brand, then you eventually can transform all this to a business brand. And then business brand, the brand personality will follow the idea of your personality. That's a really complex matter, in fact, but if the personal brand was not built, if the foundation of the self-discovery was not built, then eventually the business brand will be affected. So even product brands can be affected. Basically, I deal with this on a daily basis when people start building brand after a long time they are in business, and they try to cover certain problems in their business with brand, which is usually cost a lot of money. So I always recommend to start with personal branding and as early as it possible, so you can build a really strong foundation for your business communication. That's why I never consider business and brand as a separate entities. They are not the same, but obviously brand has to be taken in consideration when you start your business. To conclude this, I just want to tell you that once you incorporate all the things together, basically you will realize that the vulnerability, the authenticity, the transparency and relatability, they are all the core factors which basically build your brand. And then you just need to show to your tribe through the action that you really follow your ideas. So that's a secret, let's say, because when you show in action that you follow in your core brand values, that you stand for certain things, people believe more in this kind of actions than in words, because people do really like to follow true leaders. So if you tell that you stand for something, if you position yourself as a leader in your niche and that you stand for certain kind of values in your life or in your business, you have to follow this. You will have to reject certain clients, you will have to reject certain projects, even if they really can bring you a lot of money. And that's a point when you need to know yourself, you need to believe in yourself and know yourself to reject those things which will be really tempting. There are many situations in life when projects can be really great, really can bring a lot of money to our business, but somewhere deep down, intuitively, we would know that this is not something which is aligned with our brand values, and that's when the action has to be taken. Or when we hire people or when we do something, we need to follow our brand values and stand for our brand, be consistent in it. That's how your brand is built and become really authentic, vulnerable, and transparent. So I hope this was helpful and more or less understandable, because it is really tough matter and complex matter, should I say. And I hope it was really helpful for you, because personal branding is really deep thing. That's why I usually prefer to do it with one-on-one instead of just giving courses or something like that. And if you like to ask questions about personal branding, authentic branding, or vulnerability, please feel free to ask questions in the comments below. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.